Aloha, it's your boy, Neglected Gundam, and today I will be giving you roughly 59 tips, tricks, and techniques for using your brush and paint while painting minifigures. In the description of this video, you will find the drop count for the paints that I use, and also all the tips. That'll make it really easy. If you want to skip this video, just go down and look at those tips, see if it's for you. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, today I'm going to be tackling the minifigures of Hiruyui. I have a lot of them. I have 17, standing and sitting because I have a lot of Hiruyui piloted mobile suits. So I figured I'd knock them all out while he's wearing the same uniform. Right now I'm going to focus on the feet. This photo's not the best quality, but I'm going to use this one. This is a tester's bottle, but it's actually Tamiya acrylic thinner in there. I just like the squeeze tip on it. Okay, so I like this color. It's not too bright and it's not too dark, so I think it's going to be a good color for his shoes. And let's see what happens. For this much paint, I would say probably 1, 2, 3 drops of thinner. Okay, let's mix this up and it should be good to go. Alright, let's do this. Basic rule for me is I have thinner, I always put it in my brush first because I don't want to put paint in a dry brush. So, yep, get my thinner and then you just kind of put it in the brush and put it off to the side. Okay, let's see. Now this is going to be put on black here or neutral gray, so it'll come off a little weird compared to the other ones, but let's just see what I got. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay. Sorry, I did that off screen there. What I find, even when I'm putting the first color on, I typically like to only paint where the color will be. So I try not to go into the other areas, and that just keeps me sharp with my hand movements because every stroke that I do is very thought out and precise. I try to only put it where it should be. Mistakes happen, but you know, I try to limit that. Your first coat is literally just going to be your first coat, so don't expect to get it the color it is on the first coat and first go round. That's what the second coat is for, and if you need more coats than that too, that's what those coats are for as well. And this paint mixture is actually pretty nice. It's already dried, so I can put a second coat on without having to worry about messing it up and dragging some paint off. So if it's already dried, you can just put another coat on really quickly, which is great. Because otherwise, if it's not dried, it will take that paint right off, and that sucks. Okay, so that's his shoes right now. I'm gonna have to give that another coat, but that's his shoes right now. But in order to keep my hands steady, I'm keeping them on the edge of my work area. So that's how I keep my hands steady. And when I can, I try to put my hands together, and that'll further steady it. And then you just have to work with your grip. You have to get used to your grip so you're not shaking. So I try to keep everything pretty closed. And by that I mean, you know, my points of contact will keep me from shaking. Also, what really helps is to not have a death grip on your brush, because I find that if you clamp down on your brush because you're nervous that you're gonna shake, the tighter your clamp, the more your muscles will start to shake. So just try to have everything pretty loose. And then also have it loose, but grip your tools at an angle to where they won't slip and get away from you as well. You want a firm grip where they won't move around, but you want it to be a loose grip to where they're not going to shake. So just getting to know your own body. And every so often I'm dipping my brush into the thinner that I have on the side, and I just want to keep this paint pretty consistent. Right now it is a very good mix of paint and thinner, so it's not too thick, it's not too thin. And actually, for these little guys, I really only need one coat. But if I need to, I'll go back over it again, because I'm gonna come back, and once it dries too, sometimes you can see the base coat that comes through. So once it dries, I'll have to take a look at it again, and I'll probably end up giving it all a second coat. That might actually be too much. My little bottle let out an extra drop, so we'll see. This looks pretty thin. Yeah, I don't want it that thin, so I'm going to add a little more paint to that. I'll add 4 more. There we go. Okay. So I don't want it to be too runny. If it's too runny, as soon as that brush meets the piece, the paint's just going to run into every crevice, everywhere. It's not just going to be where I want it to be. So yeah, I needed to add a little more paint to that.
For a quick bonus tip, I use airbrush cleaner to clean the bristles in between color changes.
Just got to make sure that I got everything I want to get. Let that coat dry. Let me get down here. Just gonna fill in that gap there. I don't want an air bubble. Okay, there we go. The seated pilot figures, these are gonna be pretty easy. It's just the soles basically, and then just a little bit around the edges of the shoes. But let me get the soles first. This will probably be a 2 to 3 coat process. Mostly when you paint like this, it is. Let me say this, it's kind of stressful to get the brush to go where you want it to go, so you kind of want to do it in the first try. However, if you get good enough with your brush to get it to go where you want it to go consistently, it's much better to do more coats than just the one. Some people say I make my brushing technique look very easy. But it's all learned. It's all through making mistakes, you know. So now I just try my absolute hardest not to make mistakes. I mean, I would imagine someone doing it their first time doesn't want to make mistakes either, but they haven't accumulated these small little tricks, and the tricks really help a lot. So I hope I can help you guys. And I'm only worried about one pilot right now. I don't want to jump back and forth between pilots because I will forget which one I'm working on. That's just the way I work. Okay, that should be good. He's good to go. Yeah. It's so small you can't even really see it, but he's got his paint down now. Okay, on to the next ones. Okay, I was gonna originally skip over this, but I'll show you this really quick because this is important, I think. There's no way for me to do the soles without touching the base, so I am just not going to worry about that, and I'll show you what I do. I'm just going to paint the base because it'll be easier to come in later with the cement and just go around it. I just won't touch the shoes. When I'm painting the cement later, I just won't touch the shoes. I'll get in very close to it. I say that now, but we'll see if I have any problems with it. Okay, now I'm going to add the cement. I've already done it around one shoe. I'll show you how I do it. And I'm going to keep most of the bristles of the brush on the base and just bring up the tip to underneath the shoe. Then I'm just going to spread the paint out so there's not a higher edge. I'm just going to thin it out, and when it dries it will be the same color. And the bristles is very important because this brush is a This is a 10-0, but the way the end of the bristles are is some of them point up. So I want to make sure that it's not pointing up into the shoe, in the sole of the shoe. Just it curves and it will get under the shoe and hit the cement where it should be, and not the sole of the shoe. Okay, let me get the front here because I hit this with my brush. I like to call painting just moving liquid, right? So you don't want it to be too thin, you don't want it to be too thick. You just want it to have a nice consistency, and it will cover the area that you're trying to paint. That's why I'm constantly dipping my brush into the thinner. And then also, if you take a long time to paint, this paint, the thinner inside that paint will start to dry and evaporate, so you need to thin that out again. I haven't gotten to that point, I just started the cement, but... Okay, so this is where I'm at now with him. Starting to get his shoes, and he's now standing on the cement, so that's cool. Now it's time to do the smaller ones. I'm going to pick a spot here away from his feet, and I'm going to paint that first. Then I'll move up closer to his feet. I probably won't be talking, I'll probably be holding my breath when I get closer to his feet. Which, that's another thing, I guess some people would be interested, like, do you hold your breath while you do this? And I've gotten to the point now to where I really don't need to hold my breath for certain things, but where I really need to concentrate on where I need the paint to be thin enough to get in there, but thick enough to where it won't run onto the piece itself. Like I said, trying to get the cement to encroach right up to his soles of those shoes. That I will be holding my breath for. I'll be holding my breath and crapping my pants. Let's go. Oh, and also, these bases for these standing figures, I think there was only one that came with the base. I think this one is the one that came with the base. But these bases I actually made. I cut out and I sanded them down around the edges and stuff, and I glued him onto these bases. So these bases I made. That is what I was going for. How you can see the soles of his feet are the different color. And then the cement that he's standing on goes right up to the feet. So yeah, I'm gonna do the rest of them. Alright, let's do these socks. As of right now, the consistency seems pretty good. So I'm just gonna put on some thin coats and go from there. Okay, now I'm going to do the second coat and let this dry and come back to it later. Okay, here comes the tricky part because I'm going to try and get his skin. And I have a couple different pictures here. I think I'm going to go with this one here. So, let's see if I can do it with golden skin, basic flesh, and flat flesh. And if you do lay down a first coat of paint, or even first and second coat of paint, you don't have to have the finalized colors right away, because you can always brighten it or darken it. And I find that that's a pretty cool process too, because you can always have your base coat be a little darker, and then you can go back with highlights, or if it's a little lighter, then you can always go back and darken it up in places. So, like folds of clothes and stuff like that. There are some people that do like base coats of like green or magenta or blue to try and give the figure like a more flesh style to it, but I'm not gonna do that. I don't care that much. I just want him to have a basic flesh color and it'll be good enough for me. I don't primarily consider myself a figure painter, you know, like some people are very professional at figure painting, and I don't do that. I do paint figures and I try to do my best, but I don't care enough to put a base coat of other colors underneath his flesh to get it look more like a real person. As long as he looks like Hiroyui with his colors, I'm fine with that.
Okay, so I know to you it doesn't make any difference, but to me it's the next day and I am back in the art studio. So I had to actually make that color again. And I had a little bit of a blowout this morning because this guy decided to lose his cap when I was squeezing out the paint. So that went everywhere and I had to scoop it back up and put it in there. I don't like using those bottles for those reasons because the top squeeze bottle can shoot out. So I didn't record that for you. Sorry guys. But yeah, I got it went everywhere.
Okay, so now that I'm done with his legs, I'm gonna let that dry. I really like the flesh colors because they're more flat, and that means that they're gonna dry a lot quicker. Scale color is pretty cool like that, and then also the Tamiya color I'm using is a flat flesh, so I like how quick that dries. Now it's not curing, but it is drying. Curing and drying time is two different things. If I'm going to let it cure, that's going to be overnight for 24 hours and it'll cure. I mean, acrylics will cure a lot faster than lacquers and enamels, but I like to give things 24 hours to cure just to be safe. And also, with the paints over here, don't be afraid to change those frequently. So these two things are thinner. When this one gets a little too muddy, I will start using this one. And then you just got to make sure to take as much as you can off the brush. If you're not doing lots of surface area, if you're doing small little details like this, you want to take as much off of the brush as you feel comfortable with. Okay, now that he is done, I have his legs, arms, back of the neck, and face done. I'm going to go back and give him his second coat. And I mean, that's where painting is just really tedious. I call it fun. It's where painting is fun, but it can be very tedious to people because you have to do multiple coats. I remember when I first started painting, I didn't want to do multiple coats. I just wanted it to be done, like just do it once and be done with it. And I remember it just doesn't go as smooth. So once I learned how to keep the brush strokes under control, that's when it became fun for me, because then you can go back and you give it multiple coats and the first coat doesn't have to be completely right, because there's no pressure to get it done in the first pass, and you don't want to be getting it done in the first pass. That was a mistake that I was making when I first started painting minifigures, is I thought that, oh man, my paint ratio, it just sucks, like it was too clumpy or too thin, and I wanted it to get done in the first pass. But what I didn't realize is that you need multiple coats. And once I got past that stage of realization, it became a lot easier for me.
But yeah, here they are. All four of them are done with their flesh colored and their shoes. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'm going to continue with the rest of these guys. So let me get that done and I'll see you in a second. Okay, now it's time to make the pants. So this is very strange color because in certain lighting it's royal blue and other lighting it's black. So I don't want to make it black and I don't want to make it royal blue. So I'm not going to use any of these pictures, really. I don't think so. I have royal blue here and I have black.
So yeah, I'm gonna make maybe 3 drops of it. just one color. Okay, here we go. This is always fun. Ow. Goodness. Okay, after some convincing, I was able to get it open. Okay. You know what? Shoots. I'm just going to do a 50-50 mix. One more drop of black. Okay. Yeah, I think this is going to be pretty nice, especially after a couple coats. I usually like to do these recessed colors first, but it all depends too, because your paint could be too thin or too thick, and if I do the recessed ones first and then I come in and try and do the arms second, if my paint's too thin, then it'll run right into the recessed areas. So I don't know, kind of do what you feel you want to do. I would say one thing about how to get your lines in the right places, you know, keep the paint where it should be, is not to be nervous. So if I mess up, I can remake paint. I can put paint down again, you know. It would be hard to paint over this really dark color, but it can be done. So I would say don't be nervous. That's a big part of painting, hand brushing. Because if I'm nervous, I'm going to grip the paintbrush a little too hard. I'm going to be really worried about where my lines are going. And if I'm focused on the wrong thing, my brain will subconsciously put the bristles where I'm thinking. And if I'm thinking that they're going to go in the wrong place, well, that's what's going to happen, is they're going to go in the wrong place. You know, so if you're nervous, I would say try your best not to be, because you can always remake paint and things like that. So nervousness equals just sloppiness, in my opinion. Don't be nervous at all. Just get your brush down and start going. And you'll find out that if you're not nervous, you'll actually paint a lot better too. And then you won't make mistakes and you won't have to go back. That's really nice. And then if you do make a mistake, if you're not nervous, well, you know that you can just remake that paint and try again. Because I find that if you're nervous and you make a mistake, you get angry. And if you get angry, well, that's not a good headspace to be in while you're doing this. And the fact that it's kind of counterproductive, because this is supposed to be relaxing. One thing I like to do, and that you can't really tell with this color, is I take my brush, let's just do it again. I take my brush, I take all the paint off of it as much as I can, get any sort of liquid out of there that I can, and then the top of the paint here will harden because of the oxidation that's happening. So I have a little hole that I go in and I pull up paint from that little tiny hole. Instead of trying to break the oxidation crust around the paint there, I use that one hole, and you'll notice that the color is a little different. It's a little harder to tell with this one because it's such a dark color, but that's what's going on, is that the surface level of a paint is creating a crust, and I'm allowing that to happen, and I'm just dipping my brush into one specific hole to get to the paint, the paint that hasn't oxidized yet. So that's what I'm doing. And also I'm using that one spot up here to try and keep the paint consistent, to where I don't want it too thin and I don't want it too thick. So even though I have the palette full of paint, I have a mini palette above where I am keeping it consistent. So I'm going to add some thinner there because I realize it's a little too thick here. So I just made it a little thinner. And that is a cool little trick that I've learned, is that you have a palette here for the main paint and then a little tiny palette there just to try and keep it consistent. And it takes a weathered eye. Really, it just takes an experienced eye to see if it's too thick or too thin. You're just gonna have to experiment. You're gonna have to try it and get used to your paints. But once you do, it gets pretty easy. You can see right away, like, if it's the right consistency that you need to be painting with. All right, I'm gonna make the green. Okay, I am going to make the green color for his shirt. However, I've already. Oh, I took a picture of Buster in a box the other day. He was in some of my boxes that I've gotten from Gundam. So yeah, that's my Buster cat. Okay, so I want to make this green color here. 1, 2, right off the start. Okay, this should be good because it's a light green, but it's still dark. It should be good. Okay, here we go. Let's try it out. Alright, now it's time to do the brown hair. So, I have these two colors. One is red brown and one is flat brown. I like painting on flat colors too, because when you're done there's not a glossy sheen to it. It's easier to look at. It's easier to see what you've created. I like that. See, you see how the different colors here? That's where if you have a different base color, if I had a light, like a beige base color, and then I put this brown on top, it would be really cool. It would shine through like that. But again, this is not color theory video, this is about brush control. And I mean, this isn't Warhammer, so I'm not really concerned with making these guys look amazing like that. Like, you could make these guys look amazing with forced lighting and forced shadows and stuff like that, but I don't want to. I just want to give them the anime color paint jobs, kind of make them look like what clothes they were wearing in the anime, and call it a day. That's my goal here. Okay, I can be a little bit more of a liberty with his hair, with where it falls, because it's hair. Hair's messy, so I'm at a little bit more liberty with his hair, which is nice. Hiro is one of my favorite characters, so I want to do him justice. That's why I'm actually, of all the things on this whole project, I'm scared of the eyes. Eyes are not easy to do, for me at least. I don't have a problem with his hands going under his hair and his hair flowing over his fingers, but I think for better effect, I should probably fight that back a little bit with the flesh color. But yeah, it's looking good, Hiro. And don't worry if you lose some of the details with the paint. If you're a first-time painter, because the paint will dry, and when it does, it will conform to the shape of the model. So if you paint over a face and you lose all the details in the face, don't worry. It will dry, and the face will come back as it may. And for these little guys, even the standing figures, I am not concerned with doing eyeballs. Like, I don't do eye color. I used to do them back in the day, but it's just why, really? It's just why. They're so small. Maybe I'm not as skillful as I want to be in that area, but I really don't want to be that skillful.
I think with that, these heroes will just need touch-ups. Some colors are in areas where they shouldn't be, so I need to fight some colors back. Okay, so now I am going to work on the seat belt. So this is not brown. I thought that it was going to be brown, which you can't really see it as well, but that is going to be more of a gray brown. So actually I made this a couple years ago. This is neutral gray and NATO brown, and I believe this comes from my project, the Serpent Custom. That's what I believe it comes from, which I'm sorry I can't show you exactly because I don't know what the heck mix that was besides those two colors. I don't know the ratio. Who knows? And this should do it. Okay, I really like this color, so this is what I'm going to use. Neutral gray, NATO brown, and flat brown. Now the ratios, I'm not too sure. Add 2 drops. Okay, now, I actually found this brush. This is crazy. This is an 18-0. This is the brush I have been using. I think this is a 10-0. Can't see where it is. I believe it's a 10-0, but this is the brush I have been using, and then I found this little guy. That's crazy. So yeah, I can't wait to use that. It's just the most nerve-wracking part is just these little tiny straps. So I really like this brush. I can't wait to use the other brush to do the eyeballs, but I love this brush, man. It's just, you can go, this is about as thin as you can go. So his tank top straps and these shoulder straps are about as thin as I can go with this brush. I'm sure if you had more skill, you'd probably get even thinner than this, but this is what I can do. I have moved my fingers down to the very tip of this brush pretty much. I want complete control. And what's really cool about these straps is even if I make a mistake, I can go a little wider. You know, obviously I don't want to go too wide, but I don't have to be exactly where it says the straps are. I can be a little wider. But I am resting here. I have a point of contact of the table there, point of contact of the table with my hand here, and then just holding this brush. Point of contact here. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and make these straps inside here. And to do this color, I have light gray, pink, and red. It's crazy that I have to mix this much color just for the smallest little details. But in order to get those colors right, I do it by drops. So I don't do it by quarter drops and half drops. I do it by full drops. So that's crazy. There we go. That is the color that I like. So I'm gonna go with that. But this is my 18-0. My goodness, bro. Like, I'm holding my breath. I am saying my prayers. My goodness, bro.
This is intense. Just turn it so where I get the bristles that are going to touch the piece first. Dude, I like this brush. This brush is nice. Okay.
So, this is what it's gonna look like. They're so small. Oh my goodness. Okay, good. I'm gonna use this brush to also do, there's gonna be a metallic piece, like a belt buckle, that I'm gonna put in there too. I don't know if that's canon, but I'm gonna put it in there.
See if I get the hair off of his hands, which I might switch to my other brush because right now I'm on the smallest brush possible. I'm really worried about putting his eyes down because they have to be perfect, and it's just very nerve-wracking. We'll see what I can do. I really hope I get it first try. I don't want to be messing around with this. Blue and then white and then blue and then white. I don't even want to do this. But since his model is a little bigger, I figure I will. What the heck? You know, that's thick and I want it thick. Okay. I don't want it thin at all. Okay, this is nerve-wracking. I don't like this. It's go time right now. Okay, I think that'll do, and then I'm gonna put a black dot in there. I don't know, that's the best I'm gonna do. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, I do know that there is one here on the back of his foot somewhere. Yep, that doesn't have those pull tabs. I painted over them with the white, so let's get that done right now. Okay, good. Good, now we have the little pull tabs in the back of his feet. Are good. Okay.
And just like that, all the colors have been put down. I'm going to seal it up with a gloss top coat, do a little bit of panel lining, and then seal everything in with a flat top coat. That flat top coat will really complete this project. I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I hope that you got something out of it. I know it's a little bit longer and a little bit different than what I normally put out, but I just wanted to make a tips, tricks, and techniques video for you today. So if this video was helpful to you in any way, go ahead and subscribe, comment as I will comment back to you, and like the video today. I hope this video helped you. I hope you have a great day, and until next time, I hope you don't feel that neglected now.